Hello everyone, Mary here again. Many teachers have asked me if I've got any special technique to teach business English. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing some strategies, some things you might need to consider before starting teaching this kind of specific group of students, and also some nice engaging activities that can make your lessons amazing. Stay with me. Well, I really like teaching business students because they've got this career-oriented going mind, and usually they are highly motivated, which makes my work easier, of course. So before starting with this type of students, before starting with a new group or a private student, it's really important that you do a needs analysis. Right, so there are some things you might need to take into consideration before teaching this particular student, some questions you have to ask them and some questions you have to ask yourself. Okay, so let's just look into this needs analysis and things that you have to do before starting. Right, so the first thing you might need to find out is the kind of business your student works in. So don't forget that not all students looking for business English classes work for big companies in an office environment. So they might want you to teach them specific vocabulary for their type of business. They might be designers, they might be engineers, or even unemployed people looking for a job, right? So there is like a wide range of possibilities. You as a teacher have to make sure you ask loads of questions about their business and know exactly what they are looking for. Okay. The second thing we really need to take into consideration is the type of vocabulary this student is going to need, or this group of students is going to need. So questions to be asked are, will the student be in constant touch with international customers? Or maybe they just need English to understand the company system. You know, they work with IT and they need to be able to read stuff. Are they going to have a job interview maybe? So is this person looking for a job, looking for a promotion, or they want to change companies and they need your help to prepare themselves just for a job interview? Or maybe they've got a very important business presentation. You know, they have to sell their product, they have to go and try to do a business pitch and convince people to buy their product. So what type of vocabulary this student is going to need, right? Another thing that you might need to consider before starting the lessons is the country where the student is based, and also the countries the student will be dealing with. You know, cultural awareness is extremely important in business, as some behaviors, you know, they might be considered appropriate in some cultures, but they might be offensive in other countries. So you really have to look into things like how to address people in English. So how to talk to people during a meeting. Do you have to talk then calling them sir, Mr. or Miss? And what about in writing? If you're writing then an email, can you just say hi, or you have to say dear? So this kind of stuff, you know, how to refer to people, how to address people in other countries, in other cultures as well. And also things, for example, the importance of non-verbal communication, smiling, eye contact. So this kind of non-verbal things, how are they seen in each culture? We know that in some places, a smiley can be seen as a sign of idiocy or suspicious even. So in other countries, smiling is seen as a very friendly gesture. You know, it seems like a good thing. You're friendly, you are inviting. So it depends a lot on the country, on the people this student is going to be dealing with. All right. And of course, a very important thing that you need to know, and this is not only for business students, it's for all students, is the current level of English of the students. Because I've had this situation before, you know, very low level students coming to me and say, oh, I really need to learn business English. And it's okay, you know, we can try to memorize. I don't really like this word, but well, in this case, that's what we could do. So we can try to memorize, to learn some specific sentences that can be useful, that can be functional. But of course, you have to really explain to the student that if they don't have a certain level of grammar, if they don't have a certain level, they cannot communicate, they don't have basic vocabulary, maybe they are not going to be able to have a meeting, they are not going to be able to focus 100% on business. So sometimes just to lower the students' expectations, you have to say, look, we are going to do loads of specific vocabulary, we are going to talk a lot about business situations and this kind of stuff, but at the same time I really want us to work on your grammar. So maybe you can, if the student has some time to self-study, for example, maybe you don't have to be doing grammar during the lessons, you can just send them some stuff so they can do the grammar themselves, right? But basically it's very important to teach and to explain to them that they need to be able to communicate in English. It's not just about talking about the corporative vocabulary all the time. So it will be difficult for them to keep a conversation, to make deals, to understand customers if they don't have this level. Okay, so once you know all these things, type of business, once you know the level of the student, then you can structure your lessons. So you can start designing your lesson plans, preparing your lesson plans for this group or for this specific student. So it's not easy because not one lesson doesn't cater for everyone. Okay, so this is more specific than a general English course, but it is very rewarding, So there are some activities here that I'm going to suggest, and let's just look into the first one. So first thing that I do is to ask for my students' CVs, right? So why is this so important and so good? Looking at their CVs, I can really understand their background, so I can understand the type of knowledge they have and where they want to go. Okay, so some students, they are not looking for jobs, so I just analyze the CV, I ask them questions, they feel very important, they feel very nice, talking about their background, talking about the studies, the places they've been, and their experiences. And some students, they are looking for a job. So in this case, I spent 1, even 2 lessons working on their CVs together with the student. So what can be better here? So how can we sell yourself better? Can we talk about your achievements? Your achievements, maybe sometimes they think achievements should be something wow, very big, like numbers or stuff like that. But no, there are some small achievements that they can be shown on your CV, and this is going to increase your probability of getting a position. So how can you sell yourself better? How can we order the CV? So CVs in Ireland, they might be different, from CVs to CVs in Australia. So what's the order? Do we need to put work first, education background first? So do we need a profile, a cover letter? So we can work on this, and this way you are going to know your student better. Of course, it's not so easy if you've got a very large group of students, but you can ask themselves, to try to look at each other's CVs, and then you can do like a general thing and get their CVs better. So you are doing them a favor, and at the same time you are engaging the students and you are getting to know your students. Okay, so this is the first thing that I do. Second thing that I really love doing is having an interview, but the student is going to be the interviewer, not me, right? So we can do both ways. So I can ask them some questions, so I can get to know them better. What's your weakness? Oh my God, that's so difficult. What's your weakness? What are your strengths? Why should I hire you? Why are you a good fit for this position? So you see, there are loads of business words and business expressions that can be seen during an interview. And then if they interview you, it's very funny because of course you are going to pretend you are someone that you are not. And then they can ask you loads of questions and they can see things from a different point of view. So you can kind of, especially if they are going to apply for a new job, they can try to start thinking like, well, this is what the interview wants to hear from me, so I wouldn't hire someone like me, for example, because I'm telling the guy I'm not good at selling and I'm applying for a sales position. So I have to change the way I say things. So when we do this play role, in this role play, and they really see what they are expected to do. Okay, so that's the second thing. Very nice, especially if you've got a group of students. They can interview each other, you know, they can just change roles, and it's very fun and very engaging as well. And the third thing that I'm used to doing is asking them to do a business pitch. So I just choose a random object, right? So last time I did it, it was umbrella. It was an umbrella. So basically you just go on Google, you just look for an image, you choose an image, you are going to tell them, look, I need you to try to sell this product to me. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. You know, sometimes I just give them 1 minute to think about it. And I'm going to be analyzing your persuasion skills. I'm going to be analyzing your ability, you know, of public speaking and this kind of stuff. So if they are struggling, I just put some questions, you know, so they can follow an order. So what is the name of your brand, and what is this product for? What are the different uses we can give to this product? Why is your product unique? Why? Because there are a variety of brands, and why would I choose you and not another brand? And they've got some time to think about it, and then they can come up with a presentation. And I really act, you know, so I really ask them questions, loads of questions, as if I were like the owner of a supermarket or something like that, and they have to convince me to buy the product. So what's the price retail if I buy just one? So loads of emerging words coming up all the time, business words. So very useful, and again, very engaging activities. So these are the 3 activities I use at the beginning of my business lessons. Okay. Right, so what type of topics should be covered during these lessons? Well, apart from useful sentences, functional phrases that your student might find useful in business situations, I've put 10 topics together in a list that I use during my lessons, and really they are very engaging and motivating. So the first one would be cultural behavior in business. As we said before, you know, they need to know what kind of things are acceptable in their culture, what kind of things are not acceptable. So very important topic. Second one would be how to take phone calls and how to write business emails. So are you going to write to a colleague? Are you going to write to your boss? What type of language you are going to use during this email? So how do you finish the email? I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So is this a useful language? Is this informal or formal language? So this kind of stuff can be analyzed here. Okay, third one would be customer service in general. So dealing with difficult customers, possible complaints, solutions for your customers. How can you make your customer happy? How can you achieve customer satisfaction, right? So this is a very important topic for most people that work in big companies, for example. Okay, so number 4 would be how to prepare an amazing presentation. If they work in sales, if they have to sell things, or if they have to close deals, to make deals with other, you know, bosses or managers or coordinators, they need to know how to present their products and how to present themselves. Okay. The next one would be marketing, social media, and negotiation skills. In many companies, and most of them need marketing, and there are loads of students that they are looking after the social media of this company, so they need to know what type of language they can use, because maybe your company is a national company, but you do have some international customers looking at your social media, so you maybe need to write in your native language and also in English. So what kind of words you can use, what kind of things attract more customers, international customers, and this kind of stuff. Okay, then we can look into types of leadership and how to deal with each type of boss. So is your boss a very dominant person? Is your boss, so there are types of bosses and there are ways of dealing with each of them. So we can look into this. Very engaging, very nice lesson, because the students, they really like to talk about their bosses, their colleagues. You know, this is a safe place, it's an English lesson, I'm not going to talk to any of them, so they can really vent and talk about them. Okay. Then attending meetings, that's a very important part of business. Most companies, they've got weekly or monthly meetings, and they need to know the importance, for example, of small talk. So it's not just going there and start talking about business. That is, small talk plays an important role in business connections. So key phrases for meetings. So usually what is the boss expecting from you? And this type of vocabulary. Okay, then we've got work conditions. So how can I ask my boss for holidays? So how can I talk about holidays? How can I talk about salaries? Or I need, I don't know, some overtime. So are they going to pay me for the extra hours? So how to use this language, okay? Talking about working conditions. And then health and safety at work. Not all students love this topic, but really it's really useful, especially if they work, for example, in front of a computer. It's very nice to ask them, so is your chair comfortable enough? Are you using, is your computer in the right place to not damage, to not bring you any harm? And what about the light of your office? So these small things that they've never thought about, and they are going to be thankful if you tell them, because this can even get their posture better and can make their environment better. Okay, so that was it for today. If you think my ideas and my suggestions were not enough, just leave a comment below and I can make a second video about it. I would love to hear about your suggestions. What do you use during your business lessons? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. I've got loads of videos with easy to prepare activities, speaking activities, and things that can make your life as a teacher easier. Okay, so thank you guys.